I love MMOs. All of them have something special. And even more, the dead ones. Friendly people, interesting quests, and hundreds of hours to sink in. But in most of them, it's hard to even know if someone is playing with you. A chat abandoned for hours. Gigantic worlds completely empty. You could say there is simply no one there. While I was looking around, I found this MMO called Dungeons & Dragons Online. It caught my attention mostly because I already knew the name, not from the game itself, but from movies and even anime made from its universe. I was pretty sure it wouldn't be a bad game, but how good could a game from 2006 really be? Could it still be alive? And would I not be wasting my time? I created my character, and before I even realized it, I was already hunting dragons and farming alongside a relative of the developers. So let's go back to the beginning, where my adventure started in a game that is dying. I appeared on this beach alone, next to a destroyed ship and its remains. A person walking around told me it was dangerous to stay here, since some monsters had invaded the island. So he showed me the way a bit, and while I followed him, I noticed that the movement felt pretty good, even though it's a 2006 game. But because of that, the overall feeling was strange. The graphics, the old interface, plus the atmosphere. Fog everywhere, a snowy sky, and that feeling that something just didn't add up. Maybe that dragon is responsible. It's just a unique vibe. My partner Jeets told me we had to go to the town, but to get there, we had to go through a dangerous dungeon. Conveniently, I'm an experienced paladin, so he let me try some weapons he brought. A heavy mace, a longsword, light swords. But I went with what I consider myself an expert at, the Great Axe. I was honestly ready to kill anything that got in my way. So we entered the cave, and he warned me to be extremely careful, since a very dangerous species had invaded the town. He helped me with some defensive magic, opened the door for me, and I went into a completely unknown area. A bit further in, I came to a hallway, where at the end I could hear something dangerous. I walked slowly until I saw it. I couldn't really make out its shape, but it was definitely not human. So with my balls of steel, I walked up to it and spammed the only attack I know, left click. Let's go, baby. We kept moving through the dungeon until Jits gave me a mini survival class. Pulling levers, disarming traps, using shrines to heal, and he even taught me how to swim. But before I realized it, we were already close to finishing the dungeon. I killed hundreds of giant axolotls until finally I saw a chest at the end of the crypt. Of course, I had no idea what half the stuff that dropped was even for, but I did keep this shiny armor that at least removed my homeless look. I finally reunited with my companions, and as a thank you, they gave me an enchanted weapon. Now it was a great axe, but with sparkles. So with that, we finished the mission, or what I like to call the tutorial. I was really excited about this game. It seemed to have a good story, and I was dying to meet more people. So I entered the main lobby of this game and found a pretty big area. And honestly, I couldn't help but notice that this town was completely decayed, both in the story and in the players. There was absolutely no one except the non-player characters. Digging a bit more into the game's story, they explained to me that these monsters that attacked me had taken control of the townsfolk. They killed them, ate them, and did terrible things to them. And all that terror caused by these monsters could be felt in the inhabitants, totally soulless and unmotivated. You could even see families completely destroyed. And honestly, it was starting to affect me mentally too. So I made a decision. I would help this town. Simply with my own goal of getting out of here and finding out if there's actually a community in this game. If there are real people in this world. At first I started doing side quests. They seemed simple, like clearing warehouses infested with giant rats, or taking down cultists trying to steal a powerful gem. But the more I investigated, the clearer it became that something much darker was happening in this town. It wasn't until I went into a crypt that I started to put the pieces together and discovered who or what was behind all this. The first thing I found was this secret passage that led me to the body of a person who had fallen into this trap. Further ahead, we ran into fanatics of a dark religion, the cultists. They attacked me immediately, and once I dealt with them, I started to see a bit of how they lived here. Coffins full of decomposing bodies, skeletons, dead bodies thrown all over the place, very likely innocent people. At one point, I reached a door covered in magic, and if you peeked a bit inside, you could see a giant axolotl giving orders to a human. But unfortunately, I couldn't get through. You could only hear humans crying somewhere in there. It was pretty creepy. To open that door, I had to find some magic stones that fit inside. Exploring a bit more with the crypt, I found what seemed to be a ritual. Apparently, they were performing dark rituals on the townsfolk. A completely disgusting act. I stopped them quickly and destroyed their altar, which dropped all the remaining stones. I placed them and finally came face to face with the giant axolotl, my first boss. We had a tough fight until I finally killed him. But right before dying, he revealed something very important. The real mastermind behind all this disaster is the Great Dragon. You know, the one we saw at the beginning. This is a very powerful dragon that keeps the town frozen. That's why there's endless snow and all the chaos in the town. But actually, this doesn't make much sense. Dragons in this world don't attack people for no reason. Something is forcing him to do this. And we have to figure out what it is. So after I left, I could feel a sense of progress. The streets that used to be completely empty now had some movement. Giant crabs, furries walking around, and even metal dogs. This was the first time I ran into real people. I was honestly happy this MMO was finally starting to show some signs of life. So I tried to talk to them through the chat, but lucky me, none of them answered. Except for one person who just asked me how I was. I didn't even see him in the world. He was probably somewhere else. I tried to socialize a bit with him so I could invite him to my group and have him play with me. But he basically told me to fuck off. He said he wanted to play solo, so let's respect that. Compared to my experience in other communities, this was pretty different. In other games, everyone wanted to help, but here, no one seemed interested in new players. Still, not everything was lost. Luckily for me, the best solution arrived. They now allowed us to enter the semi-open world of this MMO. And obviously, I turned on the option to meet random people just in case I got matched with someone and could force an interaction. I upgraded my character a bit, leveled up, and went into this new world. At this point, I was fascinated. Finally, an open world where I could make my own decisions. When I entered, I found a giant jungle, water, and unique situations. But I was still completely alone. So, in my loneliness, I started exploring the world, completing pretty interesting quests, until I ran into this dungeon. Of course, I cleared it, and at the end, I found a wise old man who revealed more information about the dragon. He told us the dragon wasn't attacking the town of his own free will. He was actually being controlled by someone. And you could tell because before, the dragon used to keep these axolotls away. Now he lets them in. So my goal now was to find that bastard and end him. By the way, the old man gave me this incredible cloak. Honestly, I was looking more and more badass. And you could really see the progress I had made in my first hours. Following the old man's instructions, I had to take a long path, killing enemies and more enemies until I finally reached the top of this huge, snowy mountain with an incredible view. At the top, there was a cave where the dragon lives. Nobody had dared go visit him, but here we were. My team and I about to end all this. Right at the start of the mission, my teammates decided to split up. They went left, and I went alone to the right. They literally sent me to die. As I went deeper, I realized how creepy this place was. A frozen, very uncomfortable place. After several minutes, I finally reached the area where this magnificent beast was waiting for me, taking a little nap. The poor guy had no idea what was coming. My teammates arrived, and the dragon stood up and started attacking them. But unfortunately, the floor was split in half, so I couldn't help stop him. At that moment, my teammates decided to run away. The damn dragon was way too strong. And while I was looking for a path, I lost sight of them. So I had no choice but to keep going until I saw the dragon beneath the ice. I kept cleaning up the rest of the dungeon, and finally I reached the end, where I came face to face with the mastermind behind all this disaster. This guy, whose name I don't know, was talking to the dragon, forcing him to obey. And yeah, it was working. Right next to him, there was a gem radiating a lot of power. So I smashed it with my axe and it shattered, freeing the dragon from the mind control and making him kill our enemy. Just like that. Honestly, I was very disappointed with this ending. I didn't think the whole problem would be solved that easily. In the end, the dragon just walked away and we went back. So there I was, under the sun, enjoying a completely renewed city. I was really happy with my progress in this game, but the question was still burning inside me. Where the hell is everyone? And sure, I did find a few people, but it didn't feel like enough for an MMO. So now, it was time for the biggest twist, traveling to another world. And wow, this place was huge. There were ships, there were people. It was incredible. Not even a minute passed before I found some players. Of course, I tried to talk to them, but they ignored me. Again, I kept exploring a bit more and found more players. They had mounts and were super geared, but they all ignored me. I didn't give up. From then on, I would go to every person I saw and send them a message. Until finally, I ran into these two players, Urk and Crackpot. Such lovely, easy names. I said hi when I got there, and luckily, they replied. You have no idea how happy I was. I had spent hours and hours trying to talk to people. And of course, I took advantage of it. I tried to make them feel a bit sorry for me, saying that I was new and really lost. I talked with Urk for a while, until Crackpot joined the conversation and started telling me that he had been playing the game for 20 years. He said he was the one who had taught Urk everything, and that he could do the same for me. And of course, I said yes. This was my moment to shine. They took me to one of their flying bases and gave me some perks so we could do some max level dungeons. They would clear them while I watched, and that way I'd level up faster instead of doing quests at my own level. And holy dude. We got to the dungeon and they started clearing it insanely fast. Like they were perfectly synchronized. They finished it in a damn second. Then they went out, queued another, and another, and another, without stopping. I spent several hours following them and doing the dungeons until I started asking some questions. I asked why he had played this MMO for so many years. He told me they keep playing because it's a very difficult MMO. And I can tell, even though at the beginning it was pretty easy, now it has a lot of mechanics and things I don't understand. He also said he has been playing for 14 years and has experienced everything. So I asked if he kept playing this MMO because it was a special place for him. He answered yes, because his mom's ex-husband was a programmer and founder of this game. A pretty interesting plot twist. But they didn't want to keep talking about it and quickly went back to farming. I kept farming with them for several hours until I told them I had to go because I had been playing for a long time already. I thanked them and added them to see if someday in the future I play this game again. Honestly, I'm pretty satisfied and I decided not to keep playing because I asked them what the final goal was and they said it was doing raids and events with fully geared characters. But seeing how long it took me to get this far, I decided to retire now. Like someone has to make these videos. Definitely, Dungeons & Dragons Online is a good MMO to play solo. But I think it falls very far behind others. It has definitely been one of my least favorite ones, mostly because it's very monotonous. And if you made it this far, I have to congratulate you, because it was really hard for me to make this video interesting. It took me several days of narration and scripting just so you could make it here. Also, remember you can watch these older videos about MMOs I've already explored. And honestly, I think they're way better than this one. So I'm sending you a big kiss.